What makes ReZero unique is the fact that we have Return by Death. Subaru experiences death, and as a result, he respawns at a previous save point, and then he can make different actions to then save the people he cares about. It's a main theme in the series that Subaru is of course not allowed to tell anyone about Return by Death, or else Satella will crush his heart. However, what if I told you that a lot of characters in the series know about Subaru's power? Maybe not fully, that death is what triggers him, but the idea that Subaru can sort of see into the future and challenge fate itself. So this video will of course contain spoilers and go over every single character that knows about Return by Death. So of course, let's start at the beginning, where we have Satella and the Witch of Envy. So I'm considering both Satella and the Witch of Envy as different characters because in the series they're portrayed as different entities, different personalities, which have their own sort of wants and needs. The Witch of Envy personality is of course the more destructive one, which appears in the Sanctuary, and of course we have Satella, which we see of course in the Witch's Tea Party, and she's actually more rational, and she of course really likes to save Subaru and tells him to love himself. So we have both of those characters, even though they're technically one character. Second in the list, we have Roswell. Now, Roswell is, of course, one of the technicality characters, in the sense he doesn't exactly know about Return by Death, but he knows that Subaru has a looping power that allows him to go back in time and retry events. Now, of course, the reason he knows this is because of the Book of Wisdom. Apart from that, we don't exactly know the true depth of his knowledge about Return by Death, but we do know that he doesn't know that death is the requirement to make it activate. We next have, of course, Echidna and the Witches of Sin. Now, we do know the Witches of Sin are present when Subaru gives his I can return by death speech to Echidna, and of course this is simply a manipulation tactic by Echidna, so Subaru would form a contract with her. However, of course, the Witches of Sin are also present for this, and so they know about Subaru's power. Now, the reason why this one is a bit strange is because, of course, Echidna and the Witches of Sin are able to traverse the world without any repercussions by Satella. As we know, Echidna, at the end of Season 2, she resurrects inside of Ryuzu Shima's body, and she's traveling the world with the Witches of Sin, meaning that Omega, which is what Echidna's new name is, actually knows about Return by Death and is just wandering the world. And so if she ever becomes a bad guy, she'll actually know to not kill Subaru. We also have Puck. Now again, this is one of the technicality ones, and if you disagree with this answer, that's perfectly fine because there's no concrete evidence. I previously made a video called Puck Knows About Return by Death, and this is due to many strange reasons. So if you want more in-depth explanations, go watch that video. But the main thing about Puck is that he can read minds, okay? And that's how he knows that Subaru is not actually a threat to him or Emilia. There's also the weird clause he has where he will destroy the world when Emilia dies, which, keep in mind that, of course, Echidna was the one who created Puck, and if Echidna knew about Return by Death from, say, Flugel and other parties, Satella for example, this would all make sense that Puck would have this sort of absolute zero option where he would just blow up the world to kill the person with Return by Death so they could reset and save Emilia. So that's the reason why people, and I believe, that Puck knows about Return by Death, but maybe not exactly who has it or the specifics of it. After Puck, we have the Sin Archbishops of Gluttony. Now, when I say the Sin Archbishops of Gluttony, I'm referring to all three of them, and they know about the true potential of Return by Death, meaning that by killing Subaru, he'll revert to a save point and then be able to take different actions. The reason they know is because in Arc 6, in the Hall of Memories, Subaru meets with Louis Arneb, the third and final Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, and in this Hall of Memories, his memories actually get eaten, which gives Subaru amnesia. As a result of this, Louis gains all of his memories and learns that of course he has returned by death and how it actually works. Due to Lewis's link with Libatin Katos and Roy Alphard, they also gain those memories, and they therefore know that Subaru has returned by death, and they actually taunt Subaru, and they actually kill him and tell him, try better next time, because they know that Subaru is going to be looping. And the reason why they do this is so Louis Arneb can essentially take control of Return by Death and use it as her own power. We next have Reed Astria. Now this is another one of those ones where you could probably debate it. Now the reason why many people believe that Reed Astria knows about Return by Death is because Roy Alphard eats Reed Astria, and Reed Astria, due to being extremely powerful, takes over Roy Alphard's body. As a result, he also has the memories of Roy Alphard, meaning that he also has the memories that was obtained when Louis Arneb ate Subaru's memories, meaning ultimately that Reed Astria knows that Subaru has returned by death, and it's also one of the reasons why Reed Astria seemingly always targets Subaru and kills him and calls him disgusting. Now we're going to get into the big boy spoilers, so this is for Arc 8 onwards. The first person of interest is of course Aldebaran, known as Al. Now the thing about Al is that we don't fully know if he knows about Return by Death, but he 100% knows that Subaru has a power. And we see this at the end of Arc 8 as Priscilla is dying and fading away because she was turned into a zombie. We see that Subaru is going to jump off the rampart of the castle to kill himself. However, Priscilla tells him to stop, and Aldebaran shouts out, telling him to not listen to Priscilla and to just continue with what he was doing, which is of course killing himself. We know that even though Priscilla is dying, Al says to save Priscilla, meaning that Aldebaran knows that Subaru has a way to sort of go back in time and to save someone. Not only that, Aldebaran has said weird things such as when Subaru dies, the world gets destroyed, which is something I made a video on, but is definitely something to keep in mind. Of course, based on what I've just been talking about, this also means that Priscilla knows about Subaru's power. Again, we don't know if Priscilla knows that death is what activates the power, but we do know that Priscilla is aware that Subaru, and not only that, Aldebaran, have a power to rewrite fate. And again, this is the reason why Priscilla tells Subaru to not essentially go back in time and save her, because even if he did that, she wouldn't listen to him. And Subaru knew that this would be the case, and this is the reason why Subaru says that deep down in his soul, he knew that he could not save Priscilla Barriel. In Arc 8, Vincent also believes that Subaru has some sort of power to see the future. Now again, this isn't Return by Death. Vincent instead believes that Subaru is a stargazer, and stargazers are individuals who are told of future events by observers in the heavens. So because Subaru would make strange decisions, Vincent Valakia believed that Subaru was getting messages from the observers, which essentially dictated Subaru's actions, and that's the reason why Vincent would follow with what Subaru would do. Of course, this was the incorrect assumption. However, Vincent still knows that Subaru has some sort of ability that sort of tells the future, and it's the reason why Vincent does what Subaru suggests, even if it does sound quite stupid. We finally have Cecilus, who, again, like Vincent and the other characters in the list, they don't exactly know about Return by Death. What they know about is that Subaru has some sort of observation power, so some observation haki. And not only that, Cecilus also realizes that Aldebaran has the same sort of ability, quotation mark. And as a result, Cecilus believes, trusts, and follows Subaru because he knows no matter what Subaru says, he's gonna do the right thing. And so Cecilus follows Subaru, and that's one of the reasons why. In addition to that, Spinks has also sort of noticed that Subaru has some sort of fate-defying property as well, although I couldn't find any quotes to back this up, so do take it with a grain of salt. Now, I've seen other videos talk about how the Emilia camp sort of know about return by death, but this is not true at all. What the Emilia camp do is that they believe Subaru. So when Subaru says the witch cult is attacking, they don't ask him why he knows that. They just trust him. Okay, so that's not knowing about return by death or knowing that Subaru has some observation haki. They just believe him. So that is the list of all those who know about return by death in a major sense, like Satella, or in a minor sense, like Cecilus, for example. Of course, this doesn't cover any non-canon characters like Alcor, for example, but if you want more ReZero content, make sure to like and subscribe.